Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about something that I've always been good at. It's not a new thing that I've learned, and I think that it's something that you might benefit from, so I'm going to share it. So I've always liked to turn unfortunate situations into treasure. And that's why I love learning and I love introspection. And by the way, I apologize for my sunglasses again, but it's too bright outside for me to go without them. But anyway, I just really think that it's important that even if you're not an artist, okay, to turn your stress and turn your hardships into things that fuel the next good thing that you're going to do, right? And even if that means being still, it doesn't necessarily mean action. And the problem with a lot of us, and myself included, I mean, we're all humans, so we're all guilty of this, but the overthinking, okay? The root of all psychological suffering and emotional suffering is thinking. And it doesn't mean that your emotions are not valid. It does not mean that any psychological pain is not valid. Okay, I'm not trying to invalidate you. It's important that you learn to validate yourself. And the reason for this is, if you learn to validate yourself, it forces you to check in with your value system. And it also means that you don't require anybody else or anything else to confirm that you're in the right. And I chronically made this mistake throughout my life. And I chronically was out there searching, trying to change my outer world. Oh, maybe I should move somewhere else. Oh, it's so-and-so's fault. And while all those things may be true, it's inconsistent, right? So if you change inside and you validate yourself inside, okay, it's going to always be there for you. And all these other people and all these other situations, and even if you decide to move, all of that's always going to change. And I've learned that the hardest way. I couldn't even have imagined my situation that I'm in now and the way that my life is now. And while I am more enlightened and I am even more grateful for the talent of turning unfortunate things into fortunate things, which I'm going to get into, like I said, to have to go through these highs and lows of these lessons learned, something that I think you would find value in is learning how to do this. And I'm going to be sharing some of these tricks with you right now. So imagine that you're at the beach. I'm at the beach right now staring at the ocean. Here you guys can see. It's pretty windy, but it's still beautiful. So you're at the beach, right? And you're with all your friends or family. And someone makes a comment about you, okay? Maybe it's about how you look, or maybe it's to belittle you, or maybe it's, that person. There's always that one person that tries to make those condescending remarks. And it's like, oh yeah, Kristen, she just really loves to be loud and annoying, but we still love her. Okay, that type of jab is extremely toxic to a human being if you don't know how to handle it. And it makes everybody else, by the way, uncomfortable. And the reason for that is because people know that feeling in their stomach, you always get it right here. People know that is not a good feeling, okay? And so what does that tell you? Well, that energy, everybody's energy field is really strong, especially in the heart. So everybody feels it, and then you feel attacked. And everybody's uncomfortable, except for the person that made the crazy comment. And there is one common denominator here. The toxic person is the one that made the comment. The next toxic person is the one that joined that person, okay? It doesn't mean that they have to make a huge scene and say, hey, that wasn't nice, okay? They could, but again, if I were a bystander, I would probably say, actually, I enjoy Kristen's energy, and I actually enjoy being around her. I don't find it annoying at all. And if she's too much, then I just go and do my own thing. But I know that she has good intentions, and I surround myself with her because I like her. That is a good friend. That is a good family member. That is your teammate. You have to rebuild your team if this is not what's going on. And I never in a million years thought that I would be rebuilding my team, okay? At least my core team. And that is exactly what I'm doing right now in life. And if other members of my old team ever want to join me in this healthier thing, we'll talk. But until then, right, I have to keep validating myself and my journey. And if I don't, it means that I have to wait on the opinions of other people who are not walking in my shoes, who have not been through what I've been through, and have zero understanding of the actual truth of my life and my internal battles and the things that I've gone through. Okay? So if you validate yourself, and you have to be real with yourself. You got to look in the mirror and go, what do I want to change about myself? Where have I made mistakes? How can I be the best version of myself to not only get through life a little bit more smoothly, but to also create? Okay. And even if you're not a creative, we're all creators. And this is something that you're going to start to see more of. This is why more and more people on the internet are selling things. This is why more people are getting creative with their camera, and they're like, screw it. I'm just going to post this video. This is the future. I promise. Life as we know it is changing. It's already changed. You can create, and your face doesn't have to be in it. Okay. You can create in any way. You can create a mantra for yourself to get you through a week of work. Just make it that little. Whatever it is, maybe it's that person at the office. Maybe it's that ex that just keeps poking and has everybody else convinced in your life, or everybody at the office convinced that you're a loser and that's your problem and you've gone crazy, and or you aren't doing the job right, or you're not working hard enough, or you actually are psycho, and whatever it is, let them do that. I've said this so many times in my videos. Let them go do that, okay? That has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with what they've not solved in themselves. And a lot of these people that are this way most likely will never solve this. They'll just move on to the next victim. Then they'll create and fabricate a story and twist it, okay? Send it off to whoever will buy it and make you out to be the villain. So what? Like, I used to fear this, and I literally was like out of breath emotionally and psychologically, because I was trying to like fix and dismantle all of the crap. All of the crap, okay? You have to let it go, because if you don't, it's going to eat you alive, and that's exactly what they want. Let them say it, and the more you don't allow it to affect you, right? The more painful it's going to look and be for that person. Let their behavior stand there. Just let it stand there. Put it on a pedestal, okay? And I recently have learned that the more in my solid foundation and shoes that I've built for myself, validating myself, the more these people reveal themselves, and you go, oh, that's what was wrong. That's why my world felt really weird. And a lot of times when we're so busy trying to fix what someone else is trying to dismantle, because we want to be like, no, I didn't do that, or I didn't mean to do that, or, okay. Meanwhile, these people that do this are so toxic that they've premeditated all this stuff. You cannot compete. So don't join them, okay? Don't join them. Don't try to defend yourself. It's okay to stand up for yourself. And by that, I think the best thing to do usually is keep it minimal with words and walk away. And these are things I wish that I'd known earlier in life. These are things that have helped me understand myself. And I could sit here all day and blame. Okay? And where it goes back to, blame. What is that? Blah, 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 me. I'm not going to blame my exes for the things that they did to me, and that's why I am who I am. I'm not going to blame my family or my friends, okay? What I am going to do is I'm going to acknowledge the toxic behavior, and I'm going to say, why did I let that into my life? Why did I tolerate certain behaviors? And chronically, it was a chronic issue with me. I would have given anything to make sure that everyone that I love and that was closest to me felt loved, was proud of me, and that loyalty would never be broken. Okay? If a family member went through a divorce or something with somebody that wasn't blood to us, what would I do? I'd be right behind my blood relative, no questions asked. Okay? That is the level of loyalty that I expected, and I did not get. Okay? And I don't need people to fix my past. I didn't need people to fix it. I didn't need people to intervene. I just needed support, and I didn't get that. Why? I don't know. And I'm not going to make myself sick over wondering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to realize we're all a miracle. All of us that are alive. Life is a miracle. We're very lucky to be here, and I'm not going to let that crap get in the way of me creating. I'm going to continue to create. I'm going to continue to be a better person, and I'm going to use this junk as fuel to what I do next. It's not easy to pull your big girl panties up and just do this, but you almost have to brainwash yourself in the moment, as long as you're safe, and remind yourself that there's way more to life. There's way more to life than worrying about what other people think and expecting that validation. And as a performer, my job was to hope that I was validated by people, and if they liked what I did, it meant that I would be successful. There is nothing more horseshit than that, okay? The people that are meant for what you are creating and who you are, you will attract. So if you are insecure, if you are expecting other people to validate you from the outside, you are, just like me, and I used to be, going to attract people who want to control you. You're going to attract people who think they know everything. You're going to attract people who want to minimize you and dim your light so they could be the big man on campus and in charge and accepted, because that's how they get their validation and that's how they get their energy. If you really want to gift yourself the greatest gift of being alive, be a creator in any way. Don't let that term mess with your head, okay? You are worth it. Forget all the garbage. And you could place this in any frame in your life, right? So just think of it as a frame. What frame do I want to be in? And it's important that you remember that everything that you think, especially after 17 seconds, you're creating the momentum to create that reality. And I know that these words sound esoteric, but it's true. It is true. If you don't put your focus on something, do you think it's just going to happen on its own? No. So what do you do? Something is so simple as, let's say, cleaning your room. It's not going to clean itself. It's not going to clean itself. But if you put your mind to it and tell yourself, starting with your mind, you're going to do it, and then you just do it, it's done. And I know that that's a strange example, but that's literally how this works. There's not one thing, building, car, hat, glasses, anything that exists from thin air. Okay? You can apply this in your life, but you have to validate yourself so you have the guts to do it. And I didn't have the guts to do it. I was so scared. I was paralyzed by the thought of losing people that I love if I went against something that they wanted or thought, if I had opposing opinions, and if I didn't just let them be in charge. Because the fear of losing them, to me, was worse than the other option, which was standing up for myself and just being confident and going, no, I don't think that way. Okay? Because I didn't want to be labeled as difficult. I didn't want to be labeled as crazy. I didn't want to be labeled as somebody who was impossible to be around. I wanted to make life easier for other people. So by that, I just chose to go with the flow, Kristen, and I did do that. But the problem with this is, and there's nothing wrong with being in the flow, but the thing is, do it with and around people who let you be who you are. And there's no resistance when you go and you say, this is how I feel. I don't agree. My best friend, okay? My best friend and I have conversations all the time. We do agree on a lot, okay? But when we have opposing views, we're able to talk about that and go, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Okay, well, that's what makes the world different. We all are different, okay? It doesn't have to be this war game. And the people who are uncomfortable around you for having a different opinion or a different agenda or a different view of how you want to live your life and create, and they cannot live and be around you without making condescending remarks, without being toxic, you need to let those people go. And that was my biggest fear. And in fact, when I started making boundaries, these people kind of weeded themselves out. And it was painful because I didn't understand, because I didn't feel I had done anything wrong other than just stand up for myself finally. And by that, like with very few words and creating very strong boundaries with people who I had never done so with before. So I did look a little nuts to them, I'm sure. But guess what? This is the new version of me. So anybody that I let in now, I let in, but I'm not expecting them to validate me. And if they end up leaving, then they end up leaving. And there's this very unfamiliar gray area when you go through this. And it's going to be extremely uncomfortable because it's going to challenge that familiar thing that we all love as humans. We all love the feeling of comfort and being with a familiar situation. And sometimes those familiar things are actual toxic things. And I've always heard this, but it clicked. It finally clicked. It was like, and I didn't want to admit it to myself. I didn't want to admit to myself that my comfort was fixing and helping, and my comfort was in and around people who liked to control me and were very uncomfortable around me if I was being loud, unless I was singing or on stage. Then they were like proud of me for some reason. That's just like really weird. But then behind closed doors, they were not that way. And I actually didn't have that epiphany until more recently. And I'm sure a lot of these people would completely argue that. But guess what? I have been unplugged from all of these energy suckers and people who I love dearly, but maybe were on the wrong side of the equation of where I'm evolving to, which is more authenticity, being more open, which I know makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially you boomers, which I love you. I love you. I love you. I really do. But we are living in a different time, and we need to validate ourselves, and we need to live out loud. And it doesn't mean you have to put everything out there, but everybody should be able to decide what they want to do with their life and how much they want to share of it. I personally think that it's important as a messenger, born messenger, to share my journey so more people know that just because I'm an artist or just because I'm this or that doesn't mean these things don't happen to me too. I am not putting myself on a pedestal to pretend like I haven't gone through this like all the other people on this planet. We are all human, and it is important that we remain human, okay? It's important that we rise above and continue to ascend up. Anybody stuck in the mind, anybody stuck in waiting for everybody else to validate them, is not helping humanity at all. We must take this seriously. The world is not going to continue to spin the same, and it's not going to continue to spin in a good way if we don't individually hack our own behaviors. it will become a very dangerous place, worse than it is now. Isn't that insane? So reel it in, take control of yourself and your life. Stop listening to the noise. Stop listening to the news. Stop listening to the garbage. Unplug for a while. Give that gift to yourself and check in with yourself. Check in with how many times you are altering your behavior to make matters easier. And I am not saying that you should go out there and be a pain in the ass, because you are going to create your own momentum. What I'm saying is you should definitely check in with yourself and see who you're surrounded by. What situations are you in? How does it make you feel? You can be silent with this and you can just sit with yourself. Give yourself that gift. And it might mean that you're outgrowing old decisions, old relationships, old situations that maybe you're still currently swimming in. And we all do this. And you guys, it's such a gift. I unfortunately was almost forced into this situation. It was almost like the universe was like, Kristen, you are way too valuable. Hold on. And here I am in here. And the universe is like, hold on. You're way too valuable to be pulled in all these crazy directions by all these people. You have a job to do and you're not doing it because you're stuck worried about everybody else. This is not their life, it's yours. So we're going to hold you right here and we're going to let everybody think that you're a crazy ball of energy and they're all going to scatter and exit your life, okay? And here you are. And what are you going to do? And it was like I just stopped moving. And the universe went like this. And all of a sudden, I was in an empty room. Everyone in my life was gone. Whether I had decided that that was the thing that needed to be done, or they. And it wasn't completely empty. I had a couple of little people and my very best friend since I was 5 years old. But other than that, that's it. Okay? And that emptiness and that loneliness forced me into facing my biggest fear, which was losing people that I love dearly. And even if it was temporary, rebuilding my life that I thought I was building. I thought I was getting married. I thought I was going to have a baby. And that was completely shattered into a million pieces. And I am grateful every single day that it didn't work out, because I learned the truth by the end. Okay? That is a gift. All of this is a gift. And it took me some time to embrace that. But I promise, what it's given me is I didn't have those relationships to wait to validate me. I had to do it myself. And now I'm a force to be reckoned with. And now I am back doing what I'm meant to do. I'm back to doing what I was meant to do, what I was born to do, writing, creating, planning out how I'm going to do a few different art projects. Things are brighter, things are more exciting. I feel more alive. Okay? Sometimes people are like, wow, what are you on? What did you take? What did you smoke? What did you drink? Nothing. This is all natural. Okay? This energy I have created myself. And it's because nobody was taking me to the gas station. Nobody. I had to create the fuel myself. I had to, okay? I had no choice but to start from ground zero and start over. And it's the greatest gift. It's been painful. It's been hard. But I had to learn to validate myself. So I'm telling you, this will be one of the greatest gifts. And you're going to realize, wow, look at all the things I can do now that I'm set free. And the people that come in and out of your life, you will start to feel that resistance or not. And you will stop pretending. It's almost like someone took this really heavy weighted bag off my back. And I can breathe now. And the acceptance of realizing that this is the version of me that I want to be and I've always wanted to be, and I have pulled back and not always put it out there. And it doesn't mean that it's just because of people in my personal life. This is a thing. I mean, it's hard to do this in front of the world, right? And I'm not saying you should go make videos. I mean, I think everybody should at least try, because it can be very healing. However, you're still going to walk in life, so you can implement all this in real daily life. Okay? And all the people that are coming into my world now, I don't necessarily need to make sense of it. I just need to know if it feels right. And that's the same with all the situations that I'm going to be moving forward. And the difference between me before and me now in what I'm creating, what I'm saying, what I'm singing, what I'm writing, what I'm painting, what I'm filming, is that I'm a different person now. And in my opinion, from my perspective, I've actually come back to the person that I was always. But I peeled back those layers that had been put around me, that I put around myself, because I was operating in an old operating system that I thought was right, because that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught based on my experiences, whether I've been it as a kid or as a teenager or as an adult. Okay? And I've taken all of that, and I don't blame it, but I do know and can understand that those experiences did impact my behavioral development. It did impact my brain development. All of this, that's just how evolution works. And it's crazy when you realize you have the wand. You have to unwire the old operating system, but you hold the wand. So once you unwire yourself and then you rewire yourself, you still hold the wand, and you can wave it in whatever direction to do whatever you want. And I talk about this, and I'm going to do more videos on this, but I talk about it in some of my short form content, which is that the universe is like a restaurant, and you order what you want. So why would you put in an order of something you don't want? Starting with this, and then this. Okay? So that is my best advice for today. Something that has helped me through a lot of challenges. I've been met with challenges every day. We all are. We're humans on a globe. We're flying through space at 67,000 miles per hour. Everybody needs to stop and remember, we have a job to do here. So how are you playing a part in it? And if you're holding a grudge on somebody or this or that, just let go of all of that. Let go of all that and just focus on yourself. Validate yourself. It is not selfish in a bad way. This is the greatest gift you can give yourself, and it's the greatest gift you're going to give other people, because healthy people don't want to have to validate you. Did you hear that? Healthy people do not want to have to validate you. Healthy people want to celebrate you naturally, without the expectation. People that love you and want to be around you will want to share the good and the bad with you and go through it and say, this is all right, we're going to do it. Okay? And sometimes unhealthy people you need to take a break from. And sometimes we end up being those unhealthy people, and we need to take a break, and we have to get ourselves back on track. Learn to validate yourself. I promise it's going to solve so many problems. Let's start there for today. I love you guys so much. I've been on vocal rest. That's why I haven't been uploading long form videos, but I promise more are coming. Okay? Hang in there and know your worth. Mwah!